Have you ever stood in the middle of the house and forgotten why you entered the room? Or told a story and suddenly couldn't remember the name of an old acquaintance? When we were young, we laughed it off, thinking it was a small matter. But then when we reach 60, 65, those wandering moments start to make us worry. Is this a sign of aging? Or something more serious? Actually, memory, like muscles, like the heart, needs to be taken care of to stay in shape. And the great news is, science has given us very simple, very practical ways to slow down the process of memory loss. You don't need to use expensive drugs or make overly complicated lifestyle changes. Just adjusting a few habits each day, gently, within your capacity, can make a noticeable difference. In today's video, we'll explore 5 simple, scientifically proven tips to keep your brain sharp, and youthful, even after you're 60. Memories, a priceless treasure, and how to preserve them. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten what you were going to do? Or been in the middle of a conversation and suddenly couldn't remember the name of an acquaintance? These seemingly trivial moments can leave many people over 60 feeling uneasy. Is my memory really fading? You may have wondered, and if so, you're not alone. Memories are one of the most precious treasures we possess. They hold familiar faces, childhood memories, the laughter of your spouse, and the cries of grandma or grandpa from your grandchildren. When our memories start to fade, we don't just forget information. We sometimes lose a sense of connection to our own lives. But here's the good news. Memory doesn't necessarily decline with age. Research has shown that the brain can continue to grow and make new connections, even into our 70s, 80s, and beyond. It's all about how we take care of it every day. In this video, we'll explore 5 simple, yet scientifically proven, tips to keep your memory sharp, your mind sharp, and your spirit sharp as time goes on. No complicated medical jargon, no fancy recipes, just everyday things you can start doing today. Imagine you are chatting with a longtime friend. I will walk you through each step of the journey of preserving your memory, like the way we tend a precious garden in our souls. And the first tip is something that many people often overlook. Sleep, a miracle drug for the brain. Have you noticed that after a sleepless night or a poor night's sleep, your mind often becomes dull, difficult to concentrate, and even forgetful? That's no coincidence. Sleep is not just for rest. It is also the time when the brain cleans up, consolidates memories, and regenerates mental energy. According to a study from Harvard University, while we sleep, the brain will reclassify information from the day. What is important? What needs to be remembered for a long time? What can be ignored? If we don't get enough sleep, or sleep too fitfully, too lightly, that process is interrupted. As a result, we remember less well, and in the long term, it can increase the risk of memory loss. I once heard a geriatrician say, getting a good night's sleep at 70 is even more important than at 30, because every night is a precious opportunity to keep your brain young. So, if you often stay up late watching TV, or sleep in and wake up too early, try to adjust. Go to bed on time, create a quiet space, avoid coffee or phones before bed. Those little things are helping you preserve your memory in the long term. Liam, an elderly man in California, once shared with me, I used to stay up so late, I almost fell asleep on the couch before crawling into bed. After forgetting where I parked my car at the supermarket, I started to worry. Since then, I have tried to go to bed early, regularly, and my mind has definitely been less foggy. Sometimes taking care of your memory doesn't have to be fancy. Just go to bed on time tonight. Tip 2. Eat for your brain, not just for your stomach. Did you know that what we eat not only affects our physical health, but also deeply affects our memory and thinking ability? There's a phrase that scientists have coined, the mind diet. That is, a diet that supports the brain. And it really works. A famous study at Rush University, USA, showed that people who follow the mind diet, which includes lots of green leafy vegetables, berries, walnuts, olive oil, fish, and whole grains, have a 53% lower risk of Alzheimer's than people who eat uncontrolled. More specifically, spinach, kale, and collards, dark green vegetables, are rich in vitamin K, lutein, and folate, all of which help protect brain cells. Blueberries and strawberries are rich in antioxidants, which can improve memory and concentration. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel are rich in omega-3s, the lubricating oil for neurons. You don't need to change your entire diet. Just add some greens to dinner. Replace red meat with fish a few times a week, or eat some fresh strawberries every morning. Small, but lasting changes can make a big difference. I remember an aunt in Houston who makes a jar of salad with olive oil every week and keeps it in the fridge. I'm not dieting, she says. I just choose what's good for my brain. And that's right. Every food you choose can be a brick in the wall that protects your memory in the future. Tip number 3. Keep learning. Keep young. When was the last time you learned something new? Maybe it was learning to play an instrument, learning how to use a smartphone, or simply learning how to cook a new dish. During these times, your brain is at its most active, making new connections and becoming young again. Many people think, what's the point of studying when you're old? But actually, it's learning in old age that is the key to keeping your memory sharp. The brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Researchers from the University of Texas conducted an interesting study. They had a group of older adults take photography and Photoshop classes for 3 months. The result? They significantly improved their memory and ability to process information, and even maintained it for months afterwards. You don't have to go to formal school. Just doing something new every day. Reading a book, learning new vocabulary, playing Sudoku, doing crossword puzzles, or trying to write a diary. All help your brain exercise. I once knew a 75-year-old man who started learning Spanish to talk to his neighbors. When I asked, "Is learning hard, Grandpa?" he smiled brightly. "It's hard but fun, and I remember my grandchild's name longer." Isn't that amazing? When we learn, we live. When we are curious, our brains shine. Smooth transition to the next section. Getting enough sleep, eating right, and learning constantly. 3 seemingly simple things, but they are a solid foundation for keeping your memory flexible over time. And once you have started those 3 habits, there are 2 more things, very ordinary, very close, that have incredible power in protecting your memory. Tip 4. Stay socially connected. Chatting is also a brain exercise. Do you remember the last time you laughed out loud while talking to someone? Maybe it was sitting with an old friend sipping tea, or simply having a light conversation on the phone with a loved one. Those seemingly simple moments are a tonic for memory. Science has proven that loneliness and social isolation are among the biggest risk factors for cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease in older adults. On the contrary, people who regularly communicate, chat, and participate in the community will maintain better mental clarity and language skills over a long period of time. A nearly 10-year study showed that people over 65 who have positive social relationships reduce their risk of memory loss by up to 70% compared to those who live in isolation. You don't need to have a large group of friends or attend noisy events. Just call your kids, grandkids, or friends every week. Take a community class, like dancing, cooking, or even drawing. Volunteer a few hours a month at the library, church, or community center. As 78-year-old Thomas once shared on a TV show, "I don't have many friends, but I play chess with my neighbor every afternoon. We tease each other, laugh, and sometimes tell stories. I think it keeps my brain running smoothly." Remember, you don't have to be alone, and every little conversation can be a valuable mental vitamin for your memory. Tip 5. Always learn new things. Keep your brain active. There's something magical about the human brain that scientists call neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself, make new connections, and learn at any age. That means you're never too old to learn something new. In fact, every time you challenge yourself with something new, like learning to play an instrument, use your smartphone, practice drawing, write poetry, or even learn a few words of Spanish, you're giving your brain a workout. Your brain is creating new neural connections, which helps increase your ability to remember, focus, and process information. A study at the University of Texas found that older adults who engaged in active learning activities, like learning digital photography or complex knitting, had significant improvements in their memory after just a few months. You can try simple things like learning how to use a new app on your phone, memorizing your grandchild's phone number without looking at your notebook, writing a diary every day, or writing a short poem, doing crosswords, Sudoku, or brain teasers on your tablet. And you know what? The joy of discovering new things will make your life more exciting every day. Not only will you keep your mind sharp, but your heart will also be excited. You see, taking care of your memory is not a big deal, nor does it require fancy methods. Just an early morning walk, a healthy meal full of green vegetables and salmon, a good night's sleep in a quiet space, a heartwarming conversation with a friend, or a few minutes each day to learn something new. Those little things, repeated over and over, are like bricks that silently build a healthy brain, full of beautiful memories. Old age is not the end. It is a new chapter where you can continue to live fully, consciously, and meaningfully, if you give your memory a chance to shine. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your relatives and friends, because we all need gentle reminders like that. And please, leave a comment below. Tell me, what are you doing every day to keep your memory sharp? Wishing you a bright, happy day. And don't forget, you deserve a healthy memory at any age.